Hello and welcome to Space Engineers on the Xbox, the Series X. This tutorial is about the farming system. Now, the farming system was added with one of the recent updates, and it adds another element to the game when you're playing in survival. We're not in survival at the moment, we are in creative, and I wanted to do this just to show you how to set up a simple farm that's protected from the elements and functions to allow you to grow something like wheat, and is similar to the one over there. So without messing about, first of all, I've built a 9x9 platform, and if you want to check the size of something like that when you're building blocks, you can say pick your let me just go back to recent blocks. Pick your light armor block. I'm building in line mode, and there are 3 modes of building in Space Engineers that you can play around with. When you click the right stick in and you're on the build part of the radial, if you move your left stick to the left hand side, you will see toggle multi-block building. And if you press confirm on it with RB, you can change it from single to line to plane. So we go to line, let it go to the center, press RB to confirm it, pop up your light armor block again, hold down the right trigger but don't let it go, and then just pull across like that. You'll see it says total blocks 9. And so you can build out walls and things quite nicely. And so we're going to start by building a wall like this to give us an enclosed area to work with. And we're going to build a wall there. One here. And then we're just going to pull a wall there, and then we're going to decide that our entrance is going to be, say, here. And so that is our area that we're going to play around with. The farm plot itself, well, we need an irrigation system which will take up 2 blocks here. So we're going to have a small farm just to begin with. You can decide how big you want yours when you build it eventually, but I'm just going to dig out these blocks here by holding down the left trigger until I reach 5, let the left trigger go, and I have a nice space. This space is going to be used to place a conveyor system. Now your conveyor system is going to be feeding off the one thing I should do to stop people interrupting my video there, and this just proves that everything I do is live. And back to where we were. If we open up the build menu again, clicking in the left stick, you can see if we go all the way to the right past the decorations, power control, movement to production and medical, this quadrant here, you want an irrigation system, and you'll see it's there. And if you look, the irrigation system actually has ports, and it has a port here. So we're going to use it like it is and place it down. You're going to need to power this system as well when you're playing in survival, but for now it needs power and it needs ice to run. We'll deal with that in a second. So we've got that. Now we need to put down some conveyors, and we can use pipes, or We could just go for the large conveyors. For this, you can build, obviously, however you want. For instance, you could build a set of pipes, but we're just going to build some large conveyors here, and then we're actually going to use a pipe and rotate it, and the axis of rotation is shown by the line. So if you push down on the D-pad, you'll change your axis of rotation. So blue, red, like so, green, and we want to place it down like that. Now it will show red because there is no power to this building at all. It's not connected to anything, but we will deal with that near the end of the video. What we've got now are 4 plots ready to be used for our farm plots. So we want to go to production and medical again, go all the way across by tapping A, open up the farm plot, and you just want to put down the 4 farm plots like so. So when the ice is in there, it will create water. Water will flow down that pipe underneath here and irrigate the farm plots. Now if you're building in the deserty area like I am in survival with weather on, then you're going to find that one of the big problems will be extreme weather. That will kill your crops. If it gets too hot, that's it, they're gone. So we need to enclose this and make it not only airtight, but we also need to give it a way to maintain the temperature in here and keep it nice. So we're just going to do a little bit of building out of this before we continue on with the actual farm itself. So we're going to pop down a light armor block just there to give me a nice little ramp up, and you can go as cosmetic as you want on this. We'll go for a door, and we can go simple, or we can go one of my favourite doors, which is the sliding door. You can also do the offset door, give it a little bit of a sort of arch. The sliding hatch door, a narrow door. But I think personally I'm going to go for my favourite door, which is this one. And bear in mind, it'll need power to actually work, but that's alright, we'll deal with that. So power, for this, we're going to use something like my favourite the good old fashioned wind turbine. Just check my irrigation system there, and you should see as well that the door won't work, so you know it's an unpowered grid. We're going to probably just come off this grid with a little bit of a MacGuffin power system, get us back to our good old light armor block. We'll come down one, hold the trigger in, and pull out a line of blocks about 9 away, and then we're going to go all the way up. We want to get it to about 10, 11, 12 blocks. 12 blocks, and then on that 12th block, you want to build a block, a block, a block, a block, and another block. And then right on top of that, finally, we pop a block. And then this is the basis of our tower of power. Wind turbine, and you want to build a wind turbine there, 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 and finally a wind turbine here. Our pipe is green, and now our sliding doors work. So our grid has power, the lights are now on our farm plots, and we're getting there. So that's our tower of power. And if you're concerned about your tower of power and what it's actually doing, if you open up your control panel just by pressing X on that little button, go down to a wind turbine, press A on it, you will see that it is wind clearance optimal on the right hand side, wind level is moderate, and so that's the tower of power, and that's providing enough power to run the irrigation system. We're getting there. I mean, it doesn't have to be as big as this. You could cut this down by half if you want, but if you want to make it part of a little base that's got a small farm plot, this is a good size 9x9 grid to build a HQ. Back again with Y. Light armor blocks on recent, and we're just going to build an enclosed area. You want some windows? If you want those, well, we can pop some windows in. You probably don't need lots of windows because it depends on how your sense of aesthetics is, or whether or not you don't mind being inside an enclosed space that has only a couple of windows. It's entirely up to you. As I always say, I'm just providing some guidelines. Nothing here is set in stone or steel or plasteel or whatever we're using. We're just simply doing a thing. There. So that's the basis of our little building. Now for the roof, you can put 4 blocks like this. If you want to make a little more aesthetic looking roof, we can put 4 blocks like this and then build over the top of them like this, just to make things a little bit more interesting. You don't have to do it like this. You could just slap a big old roof on top if you want. Right, so now we want to pull across there, and we want to pull across here like that, because what we want to do is we want to use this centre block here, and this is going to be where we place probably our lighting. I think 4 lights there could be quite good, but this centre block we cut out, and you have to bear with me as I go through, because I'm still getting used to this radial, and what we're looking for as we go through and it'll give you another chance to look at the radial as I go through it slowly. that there. There's your logistics. And in logistics too, you will find the air vent. That's what we're after. We're after the air vent full, and you can go for the air vent full with a fan on it. And we want to rotate it. Oh, wrong way. No, actually, that is the correct way. Let's bring it up. There it is. So we want that. And we want that facing downwards, like so. We're going to pop that there. Then we're going to go back into the air vent again. And we're going to go air vent fan. I'm going to rotate that fan until that's at the top. Now we can seal this. I can't remember off the top of my head if the inset light blocks, which are really cool, are airtight, but we will have a look. So in lighting, there's a nice light block you can get now, actually, which are the Troffa lights. And Troffa lights are pretty cool. There. So I think they count as airtight. We'll find out in a second. Right, now the windows. Since it's quite dark there, we'll pop our torch on, holding down the right bumper, tapping right on the D-pad. And we're going to play around with our windows, helpfully under Windows 2. We want the window wall, and we want window wall. Do we want them inside or out like that? I think we're going to go window wall right and have them kind of inset like this. And then we're going to do the same. Like that. I'm going to go all the way to window wall left and seal them off. Like so. And finally, those are our windows. So this should be our little place. It's not quite done yet. It may be dim inside, so what we can do is we could add more lights. But what we want is we want to ensure that this place is always nice and controlled. So if we come over here, remember we've got our air vents. So you've got your air vent fan full and your air vent fan outside. You can actually depressurize that air vent fan, and if things work properly you can actually pressurize the room. But if there's a problem with air tightness, that won't work. Now it is green lights, so we should be good, but this does ensure that the temperature is nice and controlled. You see there, look, yellow lights means the room is not pressurized. If I shut this, you'll see oxygen from outside is drawn into the space in here, and we're now nice and snug, nice and warm. So no matter what the weather is outside, this room will be perfectly set for the right environment. So the next thing you want is you want to look at your irrigation. and we want some ice. Now, you have to go and collect that ice, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to spawn some in. So we're in creative, so we point at this particular inventory, and you'll see it can take 10,000. Well, I'm just going to go for broke. Click in the right stick and go through on my actions until I get to open spawn menu. Then I'm going to tap the right bumper on it and it will open a brand new list here. So with the D-pad, we're going to come down until we reach ice. Then we're going to move down again with the left stick until we get to the number, and we're just going to put in the maximum there, and then we're just going to spawn into targeted container like that. You'll see once I did that, that light there turned green. That's a great indicator with this light green here as well that your system is up and running. It is now producing water. So it's now got water, and if you open your farm plot, you'll see the water level is high. So back to the spawn menu, and we're probably looking for something like seeds, because there's a lot of stuff now. So we go down, there's vegetable seeds. Let's try that. So this time I don't want that amount. Let's just go for 20, and instead of spawning into an object or into a container, we're just going to spawn the object. Oh, sorry, spawned ice because I forgot to change it, but that's a good example of how to do it. What we want to do is we want to come, there's grain seeds. We'll go with that, even better. So click on grain seeds, then use the stick, then spawn object, then boop. Now from our inventory, we go to plant management, we go over here, we find grain seeds, and we hit plant. Find grain seeds, plant, plant, and plant. And now these will grow over time, and you can see the grow time and the progress, and if you press Y, you'll refresh it. I'm not going to sit here and let this whole thing grow in like real time, because that means this video will go on much longer than I intended. So we're going to come out of here, leaving it to do its own thing. This little farm building. Pop the jetpack on and scoot over here to this one. Here's one I prepared earlier, which you saw if you looked at my radial menu video. You'll see this is a fully grown set of crops, and it's all nice and grown. So if we click plant management, you can see that it's 100%, etc., etc. If you just want to harvest it, just press the right trigger like this, and you will harvest your crop, and then you will now have grain. And then you can come over here to your food processor and you can let me just remember this now. This is a trying to remember how to use it. It's been a while since I've touched the food processor. Production. There. So you'll see you've got various blueprints and you can harvest. So you can harvest your various grain seeds. In fact, I've got grain seeds here already. Pull them out. And your food processor. And you'll want to get things like berries, vegetables, grain by exploring the actual map. But the purpose of the tutorial was to show you how to build this small farm. The next time we're going to put all that together. I'm going to start a survival thing, and I've just realised there's a nice ice field here, so I could have actually mined ice, but the beauty of this is that you can start small and work up to a larger farm. You can also automate it. I could carve out some of that, and then I could build a system on a piston that brings down a collector, and the collector would have to be just above the fully grown crop for it to work, and it will pull it into a cargo box. But for a small farm like this, actually just manually pulling these seeds out, as you can see, it's been growing for 3 minutes and 58. It's only reached 13%, so it does take time for these things to grow. And that's it really on the basic look at the farming system with how to build a nice enclosed interior farm. Hopefully it's given you some idea of how to use it, and I'll be interested to see how you get on with it. For anyone who hasn't tried the survival and farming, we're going to go into the survival mode. It will be slightly relaxed, and we'll be setting some of the settings off to begin with, because trying to do tutorials and so on when you're dealing with mass amounts of radiation and solar radiation and the like isn't as easy. That would be more for a let's play the game on survival series, but I wanted to start small with this new look at Space Engineers because I've been away for a while and I'm just getting back into it. Whether or not you're new or whether or not you're a veteran of my channel, thank you for the support, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care, stay safe, have fun. Bye for now.